Hello and welcome to my channel. This time I want to talk about how ratios are crazy. Another way to put it, statistics, numbers, all of that when it comes to like any sort of content that you're uploading, it's crazy. Let me explain. So, my first example, I used to write stories and I used to post them online. And one thing that always sent me spiraling was I would see the number of times that the story was clicked on versus the number of times that someone left like the equivalent of a like. And the number always just felt so ridiculous to me, to the point where I had to come up with my own system to decide whether or not a story was actually doing good. But when you like really, really stop to think about these numbers, it's kind of ridiculous. So here's the thing, basically, what I would do is I would say for every 100 clicks, if there were 10 likes, then that was good. So, like, if it was clicked 1,000 times, if it had 100, that was good. If it had more than 100, that was even better. And that was my ratio. But the thing is, when you really think about it, right? For every 1,000 clicks, 100 people is, I really hope, listen, I don't do math no more. I hope it's a tenth of, it's just a tenth of people who actually bothered to hit the like button. It's something so simple. It's so simple, and yet only like 10% of the people who actually clicked on the story left a like. So 1,000 people, give or take, because it's not like that number is exact, right? Because it could be someone going in the story the same times, et cetera, et cetera. But still, it's gonna be somewhere around that number. Even if we just quickly say throw away 100, 900 people, 900 people read the story, but only 100 people out of the 900 liked it. Now, the thing is, a lot of times it's not even so much that that's the case. A lot of times more people like it, but they don't bother leaving a physical like because of whatever reason. I think most of the time it's because they're lazy. But it's just crazy how you can take the time to make some content, post it, and then people don't even want to take the 1 second, literal 1 second, to just leave a like. I'm not even talking about leaving a comment, but just leaving a like. Same thing would happen with artwork that I would post. Now, the nice thing about the artwork was that most of the time I didn't actually have to see the number of times that the art was viewed, but still, I mean, I've seen my art even get reposted. Multiple things have been reposted multiple times, and I've seen the numbers that those do versus the numbers that I do if I actually post my own art and my own thing. This is why I don't freaking post art anymore. It got to be too much. But seeing the number of likes, even okay, even if we're not looking at how many people are viewing the art, when you look at how many followers you have, like if you have, now on my art account, I don't know how many it's dropped to now because it's dropped every time I looked at it. Every time I post something, more people unfollow me, but I digress. Um, let's just say at one point I definitely had at least 600 followers, and I'd post something and I would be lucky if I would get like 12 likes. And it's like, you mean to tell me out of 600 people, Only 12 people are liking this. Now, obviously, I don't have like this super successful YouTube channel, but I see other YouTube channels and I'll see where, you know, there's two ways you can look at it. You can look at it as they have thousands of followers, but their video may have only gotten a few hundred views. That's a crazy thought. Or you could look at it as okay, their video got a few thousand views, but only got a few hundred likes. It's just kind of crazy how the ratio of people who will actually take the time to like you, or maybe it's not even taking the time, maybe that really is roughly the amount of people who actually like the content that you're putting out. And if that's the case, it's like if you think of it that way, then it really doesn't feel like a lot of people actually like the stuff that you're putting out, which, I mean, when you're putting time and effort into something again and again, and you can't even get something as simple as a like, again, I'm not even going as far as a comment, you can't even get a like, I feel like it can just kind of be a bit much. So, as much as I feel kind of when, videos come up and creators are always reminding you to like and subscribe, it's like on the one hand, maybe a lot of people really are forgetting to like. And maybe some people think they're subscribed and they're not, or they don't even think about it. And so, them actually saying it, maybe it really is like a helpful thing. And when they rattle off their statistics and they'll say something like, well, only 40% of the people who watch my videos are actually subscribed, it's like that can be insane too, especially depending on the consistency of the views that you're getting. And, if we look at like even with uh dating apps, if you look at how many people liked you versus how many people respond, or how many people are actually on the app or viewed your profile versus how many people actually liked you. Like, I just feel like all of these things, anything that is that, or at least that can be very number focused, if you look at it in its like rawest, most factual form, it's depressing. So I feel like you really do have to kind of develop this different way of thinking about it that will offset the reality of the numbers. So again, if we go back like to my original example where, if 1,000 people read but 100, only 100 people push the like button. And again, that's what the story actually doing good, because you could have 1,000 people read it and you get maybe 50. Like, come on. But, you know, like, you really have to say to yourself something like, well, like, a lot of people are lazy, or a lot of people this, or you have to try to tell yourself it's not a big deal. Like, I feel like you really have to do some sort of mental gymnastics to make it okay, to make you, like, I mean, unless you're just really not taking it that seriously. But I think that most people who put themselves out there in some way, whether it's them creating content or even them just like posting pictures of themselves or something else that they like, whatever, when you put a part of yourself out there and the numbers look a certain way, I think that it really can feel very personal if you don't mentally make it not personal. Because in a way, it really is. I mean, this is a part of you. And, You're being vulnerable enough to share that part of you with the world. I mean, unless, what you're doing isn't really a reflection of you, maybe you're just being like a caricature or something like that. I guess that could be different. Maybe you don't feel any sort of way about it in that case. And I'm not saying that every single person who puts content out is necessarily gonna take the numbers that harshly, but I'm saying that it makes total sense that you would. Again, when you look at the raw numbers, it a lot of times the numbers don't actually look good when you really sit down and think about it. But, if you just start to say, well, maybe this, maybe that, and start to dismiss things, then, you can start to change your perspective on it. But yeah, I just wanted to comment because I know personally there have definitely been a lot of phases in my life where numbers have really, really affected me negatively. And that's, another reason why I feel like, if there's a person who's like buying followers or something like that, you know, if the engagement that you're getting isn't some at least somewhat reflective of your follower count, then how can that really feel good to you? I don't know. But anyway, I just wanted to comment on it because it was a thought that popped into my head, and it's something that I personally have dealt with and had very strong feelings about. So I just wanted to make a video about it. So, if you have an opinion, feel free to share it. I just ask that you be respectful about it. Thank you for listening. I hope you got something out of this, and I hope to catch you in the next one.